So, I've just recently finished my second CPA unit, which was a newly introduced subject called digital finance. What this unit taught is basically the digital finance ecosystem and all of its components, the future of money, which includes cryptocurrency and new and updating banking regulations, technology and its use in finance, data analytics, interpretation and visualization, risk management, governance, and regulation. It was introduced by CPA as a response to the changing digital financial environment, I think. But either way, it was a fantastic initiative taken by CPA Australia. I've seen a lot of complaints online about how the university curriculum is outdated, which is true. Times have changed. I feel some educational institutions have been rooted so deep in their legacy systems that they're unable or unwilling to change their curriculum and adapt to the current times. So, kudos to CPA Australia. When I did CTA 1 Foundations at the Tax Institute, in the exam they allowed you to calculate the tax questions based on the new tax rules introduced due to COVID. So this is another example of an educational institution taking initiative. I did this digital finance unit online as this was during COVID. They didn't have any in-person classes. But even then, they tend to do multiple mini seminars/lectures. So it would be an online thing only anyway. This unit is an elective. You can complete the CPA program without enrolling in this unit, but I picked this unit as one of their modules involves cryptocurrency, which is something I was getting into at the time, so I figured I'd broaden my knowledge on it. I must say, they don't delve into the technical analysis of altcoins or anything of the sort. They go through what Bitcoin is, what Ethereum is, what a few other blockchain altcoins are, but that's essentially it. It's not going to teach you about the hidden gems that are going to 10x and go to the moon in the next bull market or anything of the sort. In fact, CPA is very clear about how crypto is very volatile and they don't recommend investing much into it. Very responsible from their end. They mention you can make big gains, but of course they state you can lose just as much. But even without the crypto segment of their second module, I knew this was going to be a useful and informative subject. So, why did I choose this subject as one of my 2 electives? Well, as I briefly alluded to earlier in this video, this subject teaches you about the changing landscape of the finance realm. Very handy for any accountants and financial advisors out there. It's like how the partner at your accounting firm needs help with converting Word into PDF, or how to do some certain functions on Excel. This subject will help you from turning into the boomer partner who's about 20 years behind the technological developments in their job role. So I've talked about all the pros of this subject. Now it's time to mention the cons. This subject is huge. I remember in my first ethics and governance subject, there was an average of about 3 lectures that were about 10 to 15 minutes per unit in each module. For digital finance, I recall around 5 lectures with an average length of about 18 to 22 minutes. Now, not all units were like this, but there was definitely heaps. It takes a lot of time to get through it all. If you plan on doing this subject, maybe try plan it on a semester where you know you'll have a little more free time on your hands. I mean, I know this is a big ask, but the point is you'll need a lot of time for this subject. Definitely don't do it during busy season. Another con is, it reminds me of the saying, spread yourself a mile wide and an inch deep. You do learn the fundamentals of a lot of areas of finance, but you might find you would want more information on each unit. Of course, I can't blame CPA for this. The subject is long enough. And when I went back to uni to do my graduate certificate in Artificial Intelligence for Business, they also offered a 4-unit certificate in data analytics. If it took Deakin 4 units to teach data analytics, how could CPA teach it in one module in a single subject? Right, they can't. So I don't see this as a con. I also see it as a broad subject for all things digital finance, but I would imagine that others would see this as a con. Some of the group members in our WhatsApp group had stated that they paid for third-party help as they wanted more practice for the exam. I didn't partake in this. While some people found it worthwhile, others did not. It depends on how much you're willing to spend and how seriously you are taking the subject. The reason I bring this up is because we were only given 2 practice exams for the entire subject. While I found this to be sufficient, a lot of people did not, which is why they outsourced this help. So I guess that's another con. However, note that this was the first time they were introducing this unit. So if you were to do it now, chances are they'd have a bit more resources for you to practice with before your exam. As for the exam, I must admit it was quite difficult. But at the time of recording, I don't have my exam results, but I know for a fact I did very well. This was simply because my index was top-notch. CPA have open book exams. Obviously, there's no chance you're going to remember a CPA unit in your head. And while the textbook has an index in it, it's not as good as making one yourself. And in fact, the printout we got sent to us before the semester started was out by a few pages in some instances. So if you went into the exam banking on using the textbook's index, you were gonna have a bad time. So that's a rundown of my experience with digital finance. Overall, definitely recommend it. I don't think CA offers this, I could be wrong, but either way, CPA did a fantastic job. It's a tricky and lengthy subject, but it's digital finance. Of course it is. It ain't gonna be easy. That is all.